What is up, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in to On the Ball. Glad you could join us. It is now Super Bowl, well, not week because we still got 2 weeks, but it's now Super Bowl preparation. Championship Sundays behind us. We'll discuss all of that. Um, Something that we used to do on here. We used to do a little trivia at the end. We're going to do that again, bring that back. But we're going to start with a subject that we weren't ready for based off of some news that happened in the NFL today. But before we dive into all that, upper left, got Ian, Giants fan, waiting for the Harbaugh dart era to begin. How you doing, Ian?
I'm good.
All right. It's good. Good. Always glad to have you on. Upper right, not Gardner 2, Gardner 3. Brett, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I got my confetti ready to pop for the greatest Pro Bowl alternate of all time to make the Pro Bowl. That's right, Kyle. Read it in the week. Pro Bowl alternate, Shedeur Sanders.
It's only because Joshua Dobbs had to go to Santa Clara with Drake May. That's all. That's the only reason why. It's all good. Actually, we're going to start there because
They had Tommy Cutlets, but they're like, nah, he's in the Super Bowl too.
I mean,
both of your backups, Ian, are in the Super Bowl. Tommy Cutlets, Andrew Locke, by the way.
Hey, the Giants are getting the Super Bowl either way, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But yes, let's start there because Drake May obviously makes the Super Bowl. NFL needs an alternate for his spot, the Pro Bowl games this weekend. Shedeur Sanders is now a Pro Bowler, which means if you couldn't stand the Shedeur conversations during the season, just wait. The minute he throws a touchdown pass or something in the Pro Bowl game, people are going to be like, see, MVP next year, coming. You already know it's going to happen.
If I'm in an argument with somebody and they start showing me Shedeur Sanders flag football highlights, I'm going to go punch them in the face. I'm going to find where they live. I'm going to punch them in the face.
Look, you know they're coming.
That's the worst part.
I mean, look, the past few years, we've seen some interesting people make it. There was the Snoop Hundley year. There was even the year like Mac Jones or Drake May made it up. People were like, a little sketchy there. But Shedeur's there. I guess congratulations to him. Whatever. First thing, is that kind of the problem with the current iteration of the Pro Bowl? Guys just don't want to go anymore. And is that kind of reason enough to do away with it? Do they have to change kind of the structure of it? Or are you fine with the fact that a guy like Shedeur is going? Because the game obviously doesn't mean anything. Is Ian thoughts on players not wanting to go to the Pro Bowl?
I don't think it really matters. Look, I don't think it should be canceled. I see a lot of people that take that it should be canceled, and I don't think so. For some people, the Pro Bowl might be their only chance to maybe go see some of their favorite stars.
Mm-hmm.
Some stars still go.
Yeah.
So I do think it's kind of like the All-Star game. Are any of the games relevant? No, not at all. But when they go to said location, I believe now it's in Orlando pretty much every year, could they make some lucky kid's memory who maybe wanted to see their favorite player and this is their only chance? Sure. I think that the Pro Bowl is, at the end of the day, you just don't take it serious at all. But I do think that it's a good thing to get all these players into the same spot because at the end of the day, there are just people that wouldn't be able to see some of these guys otherwise.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ian, I guess thoughts on the Pro Bowl games, Shedeur, all of it. You a fan of the games? Because I know some people would rather go back to the regular game, even though when we were playing the regular game, people hated the fact that people were going quarter speed. So, I feel like you're never going to make anybody happy, but yeah, your thoughts on Pro Bowl games selecting Shedeur.
I mean, I missed the games where you had Sean Taylor coming down, hitting the punter at Mach 10. That was great. Those are some of my favorite memories watching those games. But I mean, these Pro Bowl games, the way that they've taken the spin on the Pro Bowl honors and have made up all these games for them to compete in, I think it's a cool take on it because people aren't taking it that seriously anyway. So just kind of make it fun for everybody. And like Brett said, this is a lot of people's chance to see stars that they don't normally get to see because their favorite teams don't always come to their home state. So this is an opportunity for them to get in and see their favorite players come in. Does everybody that deserves to be there come there? No, but I mean, you've got the Super Bowl players that get in or that get into the Pro Bowl games, but then because they're in the Super Bowl, they get taken out because they want to stay healthy. But a lot of people don't want to do it. So kind of get who you get there.
Right. I mean, I guess that's kind of the fortunate part of it. But I do agree that the players seem like they have more fun this way. And if that's the case, then I'm fine with it. I do think like the little mini games are cool. And even the flag football stuff, like you get guys who will just line up against each other, get a little, banter between players. Like I think it's a fine switch to the format because I got so tired of the Pro Bowl itself going on and people like, oh, this is the worst one ever. This is the worst one ever. They don't even care. And it's like, they just played 17 games. Yeah, they're not going to sit here and try to rip each other's head off. Like, it's a week that they would love to have off. So they're just going to go out there and, have fun with it. So let them just have fun. Now, I was going to do something about, looking at some quarterbacks that maybe could have gotten it above Shador, but I don't want to do that to him. Like, you're going, have fun, knock yourself out.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure if I looked down the list, it'd probably take 3-4 pages before I got to Shador and a lot of stats. And, I don't know. Yeah, that's not fair.
When PFF has you squarely placed between Quinn Ewers and Drew Lock in terms of overall rated offense, it's really not worth it because that list would be like a mile and a half long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just looking like yards, he's 35th with 1,400 passing yards. Some names ahead of him. So I guess I am going to do this. I got to think about AFC only. Joe Burrow had more passing yards. So,
I say Joe Shiesty ain't getting up for no Pro Bowl.
Right. So, maybe not realistic there. Joe Flacco had more passing yards.
He probably would have.
He absolutely would have. Or he's probably just back on his couch like, leave me alone. Browns, Eagles, basically in the same spot.
Nobody wants to coach there.
Curl, you coming in hot. Okay. Some Eagles fans going to see that. They're going to come at you. Let's see. Lamar had more passing yards. Tua had more passing yards. I mean, it's just weird. The 35th guy got in. But like I said, have fun with it.
This might be his only one, so he's got to have fun.
He honestly, though, he just might be like the all-time Pro Bowl alternative.
Yeah.
Look, he's popular. He's going to draw a crowd. Like, they might make the Shador spot on this roster to get people to the Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I don't know.
That's why I'm not mad about it because he
like,
will bring people to the TV.
And that's exactly why they added him as an alternative. Like the Sanders in general have a massive following. So if you can get, especially if you get Dion down there and the whole family, like, yeah, I'd say that's going to draw.
Dion probably needs to deal with recruiting and stuff, but something tells me he'll be down there. I mean, have you seen like how many people left in the transfer portal and all that from Colorado? Like, it's crazy.
His recruiting is just looking at a piece of paper, making sure his cornerbacks are all 6'1" or over.
Yeah, Ian, did you see that?
No, I did not.
Where Dion's like, 5'11", I don't recruit him now. I can't take anybody under 6 feet. And I was just like what?
Yeah, he ain't watching film.
Like, there's like a 5-star kid out there just because he steps on, and gets measured, he's 5'11", Deion's going to be like, nope, not my type. That's crazy. Like 5'11" corners have never thrived in the NFL.
He's going to make all these ridiculous. Then he's going to wonder why all of his just like 2-star 6'5" corners are just getting routed up every other route.
Exactly. 6 feet.
He got bro playing Twister out there, but hey, he's 6'5", so whatever.
But those 1 out of every 20 pass attempts, that 6'2" guy is going to make a breakup, and he's going to just be ecstatic about it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Deion does his own thing. We already know.
Hey, one of my favorite football gimmicks is when a quarterback watches a receiver like drop a ball and he goes,
mm-hmm.
Like I always find that stuff so funny. I'm like, brother, you got beat by 5. Right, like you got beat 5 yards. What do you mean?
Yeah, those do kill me. Like it'll be like 3rd and 5. They catch like a 9-yard out, and they're still out there. Like, and I'm like, they got the first down, buddy. Like,
or they'll be
actually the one that kills me. It'll be like 3rd and 5. They gain 7 yards, and the guy puts up the fist like 4th down. It's like you can see the down the distance right there. Clearly past it, but some of these players, man, they're kind of hilarious. But transitioning from Shedeur, quick update on the coaching carousel. We learned Grant Udinski, who people thought was the favorite for the Browns job, said, actually, I think I'm good. I'll go back to Jacksonville and stay there. What is the deal with the Browns job? I mean, I know part of it is they're treating it like MIT, where you need an essay and all personality profile and all this kind of stuff to get the job. Let's take all that aside, because that's obviously not going to change because they're very analytical now. So I guess whoever gets the job is going to be the perfect candidate. If you were in that front office, how do you sell this Browns job to anybody? What should be the draw to that team?
I'm holding up a picture of Myles Garrett and saying, please sign me, or please sign. Look, that's the problem with the Browns job. Let's take away all the 50-page essays, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But let's just take away all that, strip it down. Let's look at the Cleveland Browns. What do you got? You have a lot of fun pieces on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Say Graham, Schlesinger, Garrett, like Ward. But once we get past that, it's just real dicey, real quick. Like, who's their next? What's their next best player after we get off defense? The kicker? Or punter was killing it last year. Like, you have the most expensive quarterback room in the league, but there's no real quarterback in the quarterback room. Say your running backs they're all right. They're nothing special. Your offensive line is nothing special. But Jerry Jeudy goes for 1,000 yards off straight volume sometimes. So, I think once you look at that team just outside the defense, you realize this team is spending stupid amounts of money for little return.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a ton of young guys on the offensive side of the ball that I can build around. And of course, it's like I need my guy at quarterback, and he's not here. And if I don't play, and then of course I do think a factor is if I don't play Shedeur, the entire, city of Cleveland and his entire fan base is going to come at me. So it just feels like at the end of the day that once you get past the defense, it's just a mess. It doesn't really feel like a very desirable spot. So I think they probably would have hired somebody by now if they would have just really just made it easier to get the job. Like, you don't need a 50-page essay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think it's a problem when you have, young coordinators turn down the job, or people you felt like could have been desirable turning away from the process. Like, yeah, you probably need to change what you're doing. But yeah, Ian, how are you selling the Browns franchise?
I mean, I'd start with the same way that Brett did. You've got a very good defense. You've got a young core with Schlesinger and Graham. I mean, Ward's still pretty young. Dyson Campbell. Got a good defense. Now your offense, you got a couple of rookies at running back. You got Raheem Sanders. You've got Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson. Got a pretty moldable group that you could maybe do something with, but there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes. I mean, wide receiver, I don't know if a single one of them would be a wide receiver 1 on anybody's team or even a wide receiver 3 on anybody's team. This offense has a lot of work, but can you do something with it? Sure. But in order to do something with it, you need to come in with a plan of what you're going to do, who's expendable, what free agents you're going to target, what pieces you can grab to actually make this offense work. But because there's so many holes, that's what's hard to try to even come up with a plan of what to do. They don't have a lot of cap. There's so many issues.
Yeah. I mean, not one of you said you have a Pro Bowler now at quarterback.
Yeah, I forgot.
I mean,
most big plays caused by the Browns was because of Shedeur Sanders, naturally.
Jokes aside, it is. I mean, it is a little funny to see like every day. It's like somebody pulling out of the coaching situation, but I guess another selling point could be the division is kind of up in the air right now.
Oof.
Well, I mean, some would say they had one in Baker. They didn't want to give it a shot. Outside of that, I don't know. Didn't Bernie Kosar have a good year or two? I don't know.
Couch might have accidentally had a decent year at some point.
Yeah. Steelers will be mid. Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, the division is up in the air. Zach Taylor's the only one who keeps his job. We already know that's probably going to be a mess next year. Steelers, which we'll talk about, they did just hire somebody. The Ravens got somebody that's new. So it's you get the right guy who's in there. If you can figure out the offense, get a little bit more out of Shedeur. Next year, maybe you only need like 9 wins to get through. It's possible with that defense. Defense maybe carries you to like 6 of them. Why not? But yeah, I think the whole analytic part is ridiculous at this point.
Absolutely. And look, if more people turn down the job, Kerm, check your phone. You might have a text from the Cleveland Browns.
Right. Like if you're a Browns fan, you're probably just thinking like, who are we really going to end up settling on with the way people are dropping out? Like I made the joke, like just promote Jim Schwartz from DC to the head coach. Stop the clown show and just go with him.
Jim Schwartz backs out. I'm good. I'll stay on the defensive side. Don't want nothing to do over there.
That's crazy. But Kerm did bring up Mike McCarthy signed with the Steelers. He will replace Mike Tomlin, which I know I saw online. Somebody was like, they replaced Mike Tomlin, who hasn't been to a Super Bowl since 2011 or something, with Mike McCarthy, who was last in the Super Bowl 2011. So there you go. Question, very simple. Do you like the fit of Mike McCarthy with the Steelers? Because I think, and Brett, you can back me up on this one, I feel like the stigma against McCarthy with Green Bay was he could probably get you to the playoffs, might not be able to get you to a Super Bowl. So now replacing Mike Tomlin, where the stigma against Tomlin was, he'll get you to the playoffs, might not win you a playoff game, thus can't get you to a Super Bowl. So do you like the fit of Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh?
We went from no. Here's the thing. Is Mike McCarthy one of the 32 best coaches in the league? Yes. Does he deserve to have a job? Absolutely. Mike
Okay.
McCarthy, with all of the stigma against him, is actually, I think, a very good coach. This is a guy who helped develop Aaron Rodgers. Dak had some of his best years under him. He was ripping off 12-win season in Dallas. But the problem with Mike McCarthy is, one, he's a floor raiser, not a ceiling raiser.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you looking to maintain the status quo with your Pittsburgh? Because if that was the goal, you might as well have just paid Tomlin extra to stay on. If your goal was just to make playoffs, to me, I think Mike McCarthy made a lot of sense for different teams. I was saying that I wouldn't mind him do a team like Tennessee, a team with a young quarterback that he could mold and really develop. And to me, in Pittsburgh, you went from Mike Tomlin to White Tomlin. Like, they're literally just very similar coaching in terms of floor raising.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think he should have went somewhere where you had a young team that he could have raised the floor on, and in the process built up his own stock. Because that young quarterback that he can work with and really raise to be his own isn't in Pittsburgh. Are you really high on Will Howard? Do you think Mike McCarthy's doing something with Will Howard? Do you think he's doing something with the quarterback potentially in 2027? Are you tanking? Or is this a ploy to get Aaron Rodgers back in the building? Reunite him with his old coach, which means that, guess what? Settle for another 10-7 season. It just feels like that this is another move with a coach in McCarthy that's going to raise the floor just enough so they either make the playoffs or barely miss it, but keeps them away from that premium lottery spot. And I think when you're Pittsburgh, you just needed a more modernized look on the team, but you also needed a tank and get some premium assets to build around for a couple of years.
Yeah, and you actually touched on, I guess what was going to be my follow-up was that I kind of hope this wasn't a hire for Aaron Rodgers. Look, you did the Aaron Rodgers experiment. I think you need to go younger, but we'll see if this affects Rodgers' decision in the offseason. But yeah, Ian, do you think this is a good fit? Do you like the hire? Or like Brett, do you think McCarthy would have worked somewhere else better?
I mean, I agree that he should have probably gone somewhere else. I mean, there's no QB really for him to mold. I don't think Will Howard's going to be much of anything but a backup. I mean, we look at his time in Green Bay and he was 125, 77 and 2. And then with Dallas, he was 49 and 35. So he took a step back over 4 years with Dallas. And I don't really see him doing much better in the same amount of time with the Steelers, 49 and 35. I think that's probably their ceiling for the next 4 years if he stays that long. I mean, he's 11-11 in the playoffs, 12 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl to show for it. I mean, he's a great coach, deserves a spot, but I don't think that the Steelers were the right fit for him.
I actually agree. When I saw the name come across, I was just like, meh. If I was a Steelers fan, I'd probably be like, yeah, could have done a lot better. You see Baltimore, the team you don't like, go get Jesse Minter. Young DC, different name, brings in kind of a different probably vibe and energy. McCarthy, I agree, would have worked in Tennessee or one of these teams where maybe the expectations are a little bit lower right now, but you give him kind of the runway to build something. He goes to Pittsburgh. Steelers fans are going to want playoff wins right away. And looking at it right now, if you run it back with Aaron Rodgers, that cannot give you any type of positivity that they're going to do any better than they did this previous year. So good luck to him, but I don't think it was a good hire.
But
and of course, it's going to bring up once again, this is a job that we kind of thought Brian Flores was going to be perfect for. And it looks like he's not going to get that, and I doubt he's going to go for any other job, so he'll go back to Minnesota, which if you're Minnesota, you probably win that one because you'd rather him be your DC than obviously be a head coach somewhere else. And, maybe Minnesota will be the spot for him, and I guess we'll have to go through this whole song and dance with him again next year, probably. But Brad, I think you were saying something.
No, I just wanted to say, I know you saw it, Kyle. Ian, did you see my favorite report about the whole Mike McCarthy situation when they were talking about his work with quarterbacks? Truly, the greatest part, if anybody didn't see it, was when they were hyping up Mike McCarthy. They're talking about, yeah, he's developed quarterbacks dating all the way back to his days in Kansas City. I'm like, hold on, like Kansas City, where his quarterback was 4-time Super Bowl champ Joe Montana? Like, not even underdeveloped Joe Montana, just he's already won all of his Super Bowls? Like, that guy?
Right.
I just thought that was the funniest part about this whole Mike McCarthy thing when they started throwing propaganda that, like, yeah, he's been developing quarterbacks since Kansas City. I'm sure Joe Montana really needed all the extra development of Mike McCarthy.
I mean, he did not need it.
Like I said, maybe that was just part of the shipping point to the Steelers. Like, look, you're bringing back Rodgers. I've dealt with Wash Montana. I can deal with Wash Rodgers. Sure, why not?
Look, it's interesting choice. That's all I'll say. So now that's 6 jobs hired. We now need Buffalo, Cleveland still, Arizona, and what am I blanking on? Oh, the Raiders. Duh. Which one do you think is the next one filled? And are the Browns going to be the last job filled, or will it be Arizona?
I feel like the Cardinals will fill their spot before the Browns. I don't know. It's tough, but yeah, no. If I had to guess, I guess I'll pick the Cardinals, but I'm not happy about it.
I mean, is there a name that you would like to see hired this cycle that hasn't been hired yet? I guess realistically. I know a lot of people be like, hey, Brian Flores. But we can forget about that now. But who's somebody that you realistically would like to see get hired?
Brian Flores isn't going to Arizona?
I would hope not. Although if he went there, I'd be like, yeah, he'd probably be the one to get Kyler Murray like actually committed to football. But yeah.
You'd have him traded in like a day.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, he'd probably look at him and go, it's Tua 2.0. I'm not doing this. But yeah, like a coach you would like to see hired.
Yeah, I would say I am looking forward to I don't really have any names off the top of my head, honestly. So I'm just excited to see where it all goes.
Okay. Ian, anybody you would like to see get hired?
I'd like to see Clint Kubiak, just with the good work he's done in Seattle this year. I mean, he's a deserving candidate. Maybe freshen up somebody's offense. Maybe go to the Bills. Might be a good spot for him. I don't know.
So now I know there's probably going to be a message from Sijin in about 20 seconds saying leave Clint Kubiak alone. Yeah, so Jory's obviously excited for her team grabbing up Robert Saleh, which I think we all can agree. Great hire by them. And yeah, look, at least they're not one of these teams scrambling to find a coach right now. I do think Kubiak probably, maybe the Raiders. There, see, like I said, not done yet. Because that's Sijin's thing. Leave Kubiak alone at least until their season's done.
Right.
What? All right, so let's go into Championship Sunday, which it's a lot of fun. Not only because I'm a Patriots fan and my team won, I do like, defenses. They're playing well. Call me crazy. I like a good weather game in the playoffs. I'm all for it. I don't know, maybe to that extreme, but hey, it would have been worse if they played in New England. So I guess both teams lucked out. Looking at the Pats Broncos game, which was the first game of the day, Patriots win 10-7. We know there was a lot of attention on Jarrett Stidham. First pass he'd thrown in 3 seasons. First start, AFC title game. What grade would you give him? Did you think he, for all things considered, did you think he played as well as you thought he would, or did you think he was a little bit worse than you thought? Cowboys got a DC now. Oh, they got the guy from Philly. And just quickly, Stidham's stats: he was 17 for 31, 133 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception.
I think Stidham played about as well as you'd expect. You can't really ask the guy to not pass for like 2 or 3 years and be like, "Oh, by the way, you're playing in the championship game." It's just an unrealistic ask. He had some nice throws. He made some super mistakes. Play was very up and down. Exactly what you'd expect of a guy who hasn't played in like 3 years. I'd say obviously I wasn't blown away by him, but like I said, he threw a couple of nice balls overall. But that game just felt like a lost cause as soon as Knicks went down. So I'll give him credit. He did the best that he could, but it just wasn't enough.
Okay. Because Ian, same thing. What grade would you give Stidham? And then I'll wrap it around and then come back to you, Brett, after Ian. The fourth down decision. And obviously we could do 2020, saw it didn't work, but watching the game when Sean Payton decided to go for it, were you for it? Did you think it was a bad move? How'd you feel about that, along with Stidham's performance?
I didn't mind Stidham's performance. I mean, like Brett said, he don't really expect much out of somebody that hasn't started in 2-3 years. I mean, made a lot of stupid mistakes. Instead of taking the sack, kind of threw it, which set up the Patriots touchdown. But I don't know. I'd probably give him like a C+. Didn't do too bad, but wasn't anything like blown away by. And then the fourth down call. I mean, when you're in those situations and you're trying to set yourself up for success, I mean, you got to go with a high percentage play, and you got to live with the decision at the end of the day. And I was for their fourth down call. I mean, they got to make a move at some point, kind of keep the ball going and see what they can do. But unfortunately, they didn't get it. So,
yeah, I mean, it was a risk. I do think so. When I was watching it, I thought the way that the defense was kind of holding New England to basically nothing, I thought the field goal would have made a lot of sense. It takes that pressure off of Stidham, obviously first shot in a while. Plus, you go up 10-0, the way that the Patriots offense was going, that might have been enough. Plus, with the incoming weather, as Romo and Nance talked about like every 5 minutes, you knew if you had a lead by the time that stuff started rolling in, you probably were going to coast to a win because of the snow, the wind, and all that. So I thought they should have taken the 3. I also understood why you would go for it, because if you go for it and you end up getting the touchdown after converting, that's probably enough to win that game. So it's kind of tough, but I would have taken the 3. I mean, Brett, what would you have done in that situation?
Take the 3. I know analytics will tell you 4th and 1, just go for it. But at the end of the day, when you're on the road again, with your backup quarterback, I think you just have to take points when they present themselves. So I'm all for, 4th and 3 and in or whatever. I think it's 4th and 4 and in. Normally the analytics will tell you to go. But I think in this situation, considering the circumstances, you just take your 3 points and, move on to the next down.
I love that little ESPN analytic thing. I swear, every time it's like 4th and whatever, it always says go. There's like very few times it goes analytics says to not do it. Yeah, this is another point. They were at home, and the crowd was already into it because you were already up 7-0. You felt like they were making Stidham kind of more confident as he made the long pass to Mims, which led to then the touchdown to Sutton in the back corner. You could see it on Simmons' face like he felt like, okay, I'm here, I'm good, I got the crowd behind me. Then the 4th and 1, you lose that. Then you get the field flipped on you from the punt. He has the backwards pass where he was trying to do like a two-handed shovel pass out into the flat to get rid of it. And then Drake May runs in for a touchdown, and you look up going into half, and it's like, this is a tie ball game. Even though Denver was clearly having more success in the first half. And ultimately, those points cost you in the end because Will Lutz missed the kick before halftime. He missed one late in the 4th, which was blocked once we saw like the little close-up replay. But those 3 points could have at least tied it for you, which I would have been fascinated to see with that weather going to overtime. Who could do anything to score? Like that game might have gone on till like midnight because of that weather. So obviously I loved it because they didn't convert, but I don't know. But Sean Payton, there's a reason why people say Sean Payton's a little cocky. Why some people don't necessarily like him. They feel like that was kind of a cocky move from Sean Payton. Let's see. Next question. Looking at the Broncos, they still have their young quarterback in Bo Nix. We saw what the defense is capable of this season. Is it safe to say that they are a team that has staying power and will be around for the next few years, or is there some worry that this could have been a one-hit, perfect scenario kind of season for them? If you need a little help with it, they do have a couple of free agents of note. Alex Singleton, their really good linebacker that's all over the place. John Franklin Myers, Jaquan McMillan, who made the play in the Buffalo game. J.K. Dobbins, who was their leading rusher, but was hurt, as he normally is. And then Jaleel McLaughlin. Those are like their notable free agents.
I think they would have some staying power as long as they keep the defense together. Say, at the end of the day, that's their calling card, so they just got to do everything in their power to keep the core of that defense together. Mm-hmm. I think Bo Nix has definitely proven himself to be able to. He won't lose you a lot of games, and he's shown that he can absolutely rise to the occasion and win you quite a few win some games. So I think the Broncos have some staying power. I think they kind of showed it over these last couple of years.
So, Gene, what's going on, Rod? We will talk about your Rams in a little bit, so feel free to stick around, give your thoughts on that. But yeah, Ian, Broncos staying power, one-hit wonder this season.
I think the Broncos have some staying power. I mean, like Brett said, their defense is their calling card. I mean, they've been phenomenal on defense this year. If they keep that up and keep their core group of guys together, maybe even bring in some fresh ones just to keep adding to the depth of the defense and get some guys up to speed. So that way, when you do have the big contract signings, you've got guys that can fill in those holes. But Bo Nix has really developed well. I mean, he does struggle at times, but I think he's competent enough to be a game manager for them, especially with that defense behind him. I don't think they're just a one and done team.
Okay. I mean, I agree. I like what Denver has going. I do think the game probably goes a little differently if Bo Nix was starting. It seemed like Bo Nix really showed how good he could be against Buffalo. I did hate to see him, go out the way that he did on like a kind of a throwaway play, and he ends up messing up a bone in his ankle. Looking at the Patriots, a lot of talk about their easy schedule and all that. Some people even say they've had an easy path through the playoffs. I side-eye to those people and go, I don't know. They played top 5 defenses. I don't know how that's an easy path. Do you think their defense has been somewhat underrated based off of how they played against the Chargers, Texans, and now Broncos?
Oh, they're certainly not this far because of their offense.
That is true.
Patriots offense so far this postseason, while playing these elite defenses, we can acknowledge that, has stunk. It hasn't been good. They've been able to make timely plays when needed, but it overall hasn't been a good process. It hasn't been a good offense. It's really their defense getting hot.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, Gene. Weather played a huge factor, but at the end of the day, they didn't really look mind blowing in the games before that either. So I think that the Patriots defense is underrated because a lot of people, they're still talking about Drake May on the offense, and quarterback's always going to get the most attention for when a team goes to the Super Bowl. But they're here because of what their defense has done as soon as the playoffs started. Their defense has been absolutely elite. So
Don't think Nick's. Yeah, I don't think it changes the outcome, but I think at least it looks a little bit different. Because there were some throws that Stidham had that he was kind of late on. He rushed a little. I feel like Nick's would have been a little bit better in those situations. But yeah, I agree that. Yeah, I agree with you. Nick's doesn't change the outcome. So yeah, Ian, defense underrated or not to you, the Patriots?
Yeah, I do think this defense was underrated. I mean, you got leaders on defense like Christian Ellis that just have been insane this postseason. Christian Barmore been great too. Yeah, they're the whole reason why they're here. May did not look good. I mean, yeah, the weather was not good against they played the Broncos, but still he's not played to the level that he has during the regular season. And it's all in large part how well their defense has played, why they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, look, I'll agree. I think the game plan against Denver obviously changed as the weather got worse, but once they kind of realized that the defense was holding Denver's offense down, I do think that changed it to where they were just asking May to not turn it over. Don't give them any short fields. Stidham had the one throw, but then after that, it was a bit of a struggle. They couldn't run the ball, which I did think was going to be a big thing for Denver. If they could have ran the ball, that would have taken a lot off of Stidham. They couldn't do that. You got to credit Milton Williams and Christian Barmore for that. Also Spillane, who's really good in run defense. So I agree the offense hasn't been great, but I feel like come Super Bowl, we might get the Drake May that a lot of people have gotten used to. All right, so let's see. Rod, who is in here? Rams lost. Let's talk Seahawks Rams, which, look, you wanted offense. The NFC got you. I especially love the stretch when Stafford drove down, got him a touchdown after the muffed punt, which led to the Seahawks getting the short field. Stafford goes 4 plays, touchdown. Then Darnold gets the ball. They go down the field, touchdown. And then Stafford gets it right back, touchdown. I thought it was great execution, both teams on those drives. Looking at, obviously, Seahawks did win because we're getting past Seahawks in the Super Bowl. But looking at the Rams side of it, they had a 4th down decision to make that became controversial. Well, not controversial, but, arguably, did they make the right decision or not? They're on their own 6-yard line, about 5 minutes to go in the game. They had timeouts and everything. They go for it. They were down 31-27. Stafford throws into the back of the end zone. It's knocked away. And obviously, when it plays out at the end, 25 seconds left, they needed a touchdown. You kick that field goal. You only need a field goal at that point. Less of the field, you had to go down. But were you okay with that decision? We talked about how Denver went about it. Did you have a problem with McVay going for it on 4th at that point?
That's probably also a situation where I personally would have taken the points. Like I said, I'm a big fan of aggressive play calling, but when you're down 4, and I think the situation matters in the sense of you're running out of time too. Like you don't have a lot of time left. You need to get this ball back. I would have kicked the field goal and then tried to give myself a little more time and the defense a little more time to get to work because, when you get down, late in these games, points are sacred. So I'm normally a big fan of being aggressive and going for it, but I think this is another situation where you take the points, you make it a 1-point game, and you turn to get the ball back on defense.
Okay. Ian, do you agree? Or did you like that they went for it on fourth?
I agree with Brett with how stingy the Seahawks defense was being in pass coverage. They were doing tight man. You don't have a lot of space to work with when you're backed into the red zone. You don't have a lot of space to work with. You don't have a lot of space to get open. You've got to get real creative to even get some space. They weren't able to get some space. Stafford threw into tight coverage. It would have been picked had the receiver not broken it up. But if you take those three, like Brett said, you've got, if you can get the ball back like they did, you've got a short field to just get a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not a fan of it. I think that they really should have just taken the points, regrouped the defense, come up with a game plan, and went from there.
Yeah, like I said, it would have made the last sequence a little interesting if they only needed a field goal. The out route to Puka, he makes the catch, but he gets tackled in bounds, so the clock ran out. But let's just say if he had gotten out of bounds and he only needed a field goal, would have made that, like I said, more interesting. Or at least get a Hail Mary in there. Would have loved to have seen how, that would have left. Wait, no way. There was 4 and change left. Yeah. Yeah, it was like 4, I think it was 4:46 left, I believe. Oh, that was another one I saw it. I was like, I probably would have taken the points, but once again, I can understand going for it. I love the decision, though, because like you said, I don't know what Stafford necessarily saw on that route because the Seahawks player was right there, undercut the route. But, is what it is. Okay, so the other side. Sam Darnold, a quarterback that not a lot of people give a lot of credit to because of, Jets tenure or Carolina or the Vikings because good year up until the end of the year, start struggling in the playoffs, whatever. He's now will help lead the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. Is it time for the narrative around Sam Darnold to change? Like, do you now view him, if you didn't before, as a good enough quarterback, or does he still have to prove a little bit more to you?
So
decision all over again.
I disagree with this because I think the scenarios are different.
Okay.
When the Rodgers field goal happened, there was even less time than this. But the biggest key is the Rodgers field goal made an 8-point game to a 5-point game. This would have made a 4-point game to a 1-point game where a field goal could potentially get you a win. The Rodgers one didn't make sense because you went from needing a touchdown to needing a touchdown. So it's like, why even bother with that? But when it came to this situation, now you're going from potentially needing a touchdown to needing a field goal. I think that's the biggest difference for me. Like, if the field goal would have made it like a 4-point game, yeah, just go for it every time. But when it comes to this one, if you can make it a 1-possession game within a field goal, yeah, I think you just take the points in that scenario.
Okay.
But
the Darnold aspect, because like I said, Seidman says yes, he's done enough to shut people up. And look, the main people who kind of were detractors, First Take kind of chronicled Stephen A. always talking about, Darnold will be that guy who ruins it for you and stuff like that. So kind of that conversation has that gone away because of Darnold's season.
Yeah. Sam Darnold has proven himself not only this year, but he was very good last year. He had a little rough stretch to end the year, but I don't think that took away from the overall greatness of what he did last year. He was fantastic. He was a top 10 quarterback last year. He comes in, he's once again playing at the level of a top 10 quarterback this year. I think Sam Darnold, that he's a guy that at the end of the day he's shown that I yeah. I think he's a guy that's shown that at the end of the day he plays pretty much at that borderline top 10 quarterback level who can elevate his game at times.
Okay.
Is it really that crazy to say top 10, Gene? I think that once you get to the back half of the top 10, there's like a big pool of guys that you can interchange. And I think that's where Sam Darnold is.
Well, hey, that's. I mean, yeah, I obviously have to think about that to see if I could put him in the top 10. But I see what you're saying. You feel like, those who are still kind of putting him down because of the Jets years and all that, that stuff you can put behind him. And those who thought that the Vikings year was a fluke, I guess he's proven yet again this year he can be that guy to lead a team to a really good regular season, and except for this year as opposed to last year, winning the playoffs. So I get what you're saying, Ian. You feel like Sam Darnold's done enough to quiet some of that noise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's done a great job this season. I mean, last season, great season, struggled at the end, like Brett said, and then saw ghosts in the playoffs, which caused the Vikings to get eliminated. This year, we are all wondering the same thing. Is he going to be seeing ghosts when he gets into the playoffs, or is he going to be the Sam Darnold that he was in the regular season? And so far, he's proven that he is the same guy he was during the regular season. Picked it up very big against the Rams, played an excellent game, had a bunch of great throws in that game. And I think that everybody can say that he's a solid QB. Is he the best QB? No. But is he a solid QB? Absolutely. Can he win you games? Yes.
Okay. Now look, Sajin put it that he's done enough to shut everybody up. So Seahawks fans are happy with him. That's good for him. It looks like he found somewhere where he can kind of thrive. Looking at the Rams, because I asked this about the Patriots defense and whether they were underrated. Did we make too much about the Rams defense? Because looking at their numbers in the playoffs, they were 11th in yards allowed per game, 11th in passing yards allowed per game, 7th in rushing yards per game allowed, and 8th in points allowed per game. I feel like going into the postseason, people were looking at Jared Verse and Young and some of those other guys and thought that they could have been one of the better defensive units. Stats would tell you otherwise. So did we overrate the Rams defense?
Ooh. Did we overrate the Rams defense? Maybe a little. I think it was a very good defense all year. But at the end of the day, I think they have some problems that they're going to need to address in the offseason. I think they definitely got to get more secondary help. I do think their line is still good, but yeah, I still think the Rams are a good defense. I don't think a rough stretch changes anything in that regard. I think they had a great year for the most part. Just unfortunately, they ran into a Seahawks team that was able to expose their weaknesses, got hot. So I think they were properly rated for the most part, and I don't think a cold stretch to end the year changes that.
Excited. Hey, take that victory lap. Ian, yeah, what do you think? Overrated? Did we not to call them overrated, but did we overrate their defense or not?
I don't think so. Like that front four is phenomenal. I mean, with Verse, Young, they did have an injury on defense. Kobe Turner that may or may not have played a factor in this game. He's been great for them all year. Having him go out kind of changed things a little bit for them. But that secondary did not play well during the postseason. I mean, they had some few key plays that they made, like Cam Curl, but they did struggle a lot. If the pass rushers were getting home, they were letting up yards.
Okay. I definitely agree that they have some holes to fix, which obviously, because they didn't make the Super Bowl, you got to have some area of need. So we'll see what they do with the secondary in the offseason. But really quickly before I get to the little trivia question I have for you, one word answer. Is Stafford done? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Okay. I probably agree. I feel like the way that this season ended, he'll probably want to run it back at least one more time. All right, so because the Super Bowl is in a couple weeks, we'll wait for next week's show to really break that down. But we are going to get a matchup of Mike versus Mike. Mike Vrabel, Mike McDonald, two defensive-minded coaches. First question. When was the last time we had two defensive head coaches in the Super Bowl?
Let's see. Two defensive coaches. I feel like Bill Belichick's involved. I feel like I'm not sure. I almost said my first guess was Patriots Eagles from no, because I don't think Doug Peterson was a defensive guy though. Definitely wasn't.
Right, Peterson is offensive.
Would it be Broncos Panthers?
That's a good answer. I mean, Ian, do you have an answer?
That was my guess. Was 2015 Broncos Panthers.
It was 2017. Belichick versus Dan Quinn, the 28-3 Super Bowl.
Oh, duh! I forgot Dan Quinn was in the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Paid so much attention to 28-3. Forget Quinn was the coach of the Falcons. And actually, back then, there was a little bit of a run because 2012, we had Coughlin versus Belichick. 13 was the Harbaugh brothers Super Bowl, even though John's a special teams guy, but we'll give him the nod. 2014, you had Pete Carroll versus John Fox. And then 2015, you had Belichick versus Carroll. And then it went strictly offense. 2016, I believe, was offense versus defense. And then after 2017, everybody was offense versus offense. I mean, that's also true. Because of how the offense played, you think Shanahan was probably the coach. But yeah, it was Dan Quinn. Let's see. All right, so the other question I had for you. Mike Vrabel, former player, now coaching in the Super Bowl. Who's the last former player to coach a team in the Super Bowl?
I feel like I feel like the answer is going to be somebody obvious, but I'm going to overthink them.
Right.
Last head coach to play and also play in the Super Bowl.
Well, this one's just a former player to coach the Super Bowl. They didn't have to actually coach in the Super Bowl, even though Vrabel played in the Super Bowl and coached in one. It's just the last player to coach a team to the Super Bowl.
I'm drawing blanks. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure who to guess. Mike, that's it. Tomlin's a good one. That might be the answer.
I'm drawing a blank.
Gino, I said Gino because it says Gino. Gene, you're right. 2018, Doug Peterson.
I forgot Doug Peterson played.
Last former player to lead a team.
I completely forgot that Doug Peterson played.
Oh, well. Yeah, it was Doug Peterson, but they did good, little bit before that, Ditka. Yeah, those are just the two little trivia things I had. I know we used to do it on here before, so I wanted to ease it back into the show. But we're a little over an hour. That's all I had for you. Brett, we'll let people know what they can look forward to coming up later on today.
Yeah, I know tonight I know my co-host is on vacation, so I'll let you know in a little bit if we finalize the show for later tonight. Otherwise, one show that's a guaranteed lock this week, the Meaty Boys podcast on Saturday is presenting the WWE Royal Rumble Watch Along. And we're doing a little gift card giveaway where we're giving away 15 gift cards and 3 candles. So the way to enter, really simple. I can post the link if anybody's interested, but you just got to donate to my sister's GoFundMe. We're trying to raise money for my brother-in-law who was in an unfortunate accident. So I can share the link if anybody's interested. You can Venmo me or GoFundMe, and then you get 2 entries for every dollar you spend into my little gift card giveaway. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Ian, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No.
All right. So, product of Wales. Well, we'll save our predictions for next week. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to dog walk my Pats. No, I'm never going to agree to that. But yeah, appreciate all of you for tuning in. Hopefully you come back next week where we will talk Super Bowl. I guess we'll touch on the Pro Bowl, maybe work some NBA in, and I will try to have another trivia question for the crew. Thanks for all's going on. Unless there's a trade that happens, because I know Brett's checking his phone every day to see if Giannis is on his way out the door. I went to ESPN, like the first story was how each team could trade for Giannis. I was like, oh God, here we go. It's about to ratchet up with the Giannis rumors. But if anything happens NBA wise, trade wise, we'll definitely talk about that as well. So for Ian, not guarding the 2, guarding the 3, Brett, myself, this has been the On the Ball podcast. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. Make sure you like Wire to Wire. Check out the other shows as well. And we will see you next week. All right. Bye.